New overnight, a standoff coming to a deadly end after a Tacoma police officer is shot and killed.
Officers navigating a dangerous and delicate situation trying to get their man.
There were kids there, and he was using them as a shield.
Officers opening fire once the children were safe.
Now an outpouring of support from across the region as the Tacoma Police Department says goodbye to one of their own. And we've learned overnight the 45-year-old officer was with the force for 17 years.
That investigation just getting underway after that 11-hour standoff ending with the death of the gunman. We have live team coverage this morning, but first we want to start with KOMO's Denise Whittaker, who's there as that standoff came to an end just a couple hours ago. Denise, what's the latest?
It did. It ended just before 3:30. Right now, here's what police are doing. They're up there at the house at the end of the street. You can see the police vehicle parked in front of it right now. Of course, they have a lot of evidence to process. So teams are going through all of that right now to make sure they don't miss anything. Now, all of this came to an end where a Pierce County SWAT officer saw an opportunity and took it. And this happened hours after they were trying to negotiate with the man accused of shooting and killing a Tacoma police officer last night. The officer, Detective Ed Troyer tells me, fired just one shot, killing the suspect. Officers knew what they were dealing with after talking and trying to negotiate with the man all night long. This is the man who was accused of shooting and killing that Tacoma police officer and holding two children hostage all night long.
There were kids there, and he was using them as a shield. And so our guys were very, very patient to make sure that we don't want the kids to get hurt.
And the children did not get hurt. After losing a fellow officer, Detective Ed Troyer tells me they wanted no more tragedy. They worked hard to make sure no harm would come to those two innocent children, a boy and a girl just 8 and 11 years old. Now, the woman who was initially inside the house as well when this domestic violence call started last night escaped. As soon as everything happened, dozens of officers from different departments throughout the region rushed here to see what they could do. In fact, Seattle police officers are still here on scene right now, securing the perimeter, while others showed up and provided SWAT, canine officers, and other support. This is a time that not only the Tacoma Police Department is mourning, but all of these officers. And all of these officers still stayed on task all night long, making sure they knew exactly what had to be done, again, to save those two children and to get the suspect who killed one of their fellow officers. Live in Tacoma, Denise Whittaker, KOMO News.
Yeah, just a difficult morning. Thanks, Denise. Now let's check in with KOMO's Lee Stoll.
Yeah, she's live at Tacoma Police Headquarters, where the emotion, I'd imagine, is very raw this morning, Lee.
Yeah, it is. We've seen officers coming and going all morning long, some ending their shifts, some starting their days. And just a few minutes ago, we did see some come out and put that black banner across the large badge on the side of the building. Unfortunately, something we have seen at so many departments so many times before. And just below that, this growing memorial of flowers and candles that have been dropped off by people all night and all morning long. Now, we have learned from the police chief that the officer who was killed is not going to be alone, not even for a second. An officer is going to stand watch with his body until the funeral is held. We unfortunately have seen how large those events can be, drawing in departments from around the world. Some tweeting this morning notes of support from New York and Chicago. We have learned a few details about the officer. He is 45 years old and had been with this department for 17 years.
It was amazing to see people in the community from all races that were out here just in solidarity to show support for the officer in the community.
Now, a viewer had sent us some video he took with a drone over the street leading up to the scene as it was lined in blue with emergency vehicles, flashing lights, just a scene of support wherever this officer has gone this morning. And again, for officers who are starting their day at work this morning here at the headquarters, a small sign of support, this memorial, which of course we expect will grow exponentially as the day goes on this morning. Back to you.
Thank you, Lee. And we've been also watching the situation at Mary Bridge and Tacoma General Hospitals. There is still a police presence there, of course, and the officer who was initially shot was brought to Tacoma General first before he died. The children who we learned were in that house used as human shields during the entire standoff, brought to Mary Bridge to be checked out over as well. Obviously, they're a little bit shaken, but we're told that they are physically okay. Meanwhile, the news of the officer being killed in the line of duty hitting very close to home for many people in the area. Last night, we spoke to a man who watched the procession with very tearful eyes and got very emotional.
You know, he was a person doing his job. And, you know, like I said, I got a lot of respect for police and people who put their life on the line. Saddened, you know, because I'm a father myself. And I thought about, you know, if my kids didn't see me come home.
Eric also says his heart goes out to the entire Tacoma Police Department.
We are seeing an outpouring of emotion as law enforcement and emergency crews from all across the region, even the country, sharing their condolences. We have put together a look at some of those responses from around the Northwest and more. You can read more of those messages at our Facebook page. It has been an especially deadly year, from Dallas to Baton Rouge and now Tacoma, for police officers who've been shot and killed in the line of duty. From the beginning of the year through yesterday, 61 officers have died from shootings on the job across the country. Compare that to just 38 over the same period last year. 132 total officers died this year. That is an 18% increase over 2015.
And last night's tragedy in Tacoma hits very close to home for so many people in Pierce County.
As you'll remember, just Tuesday is the day that marked the 7th anniversary of the Lakewood police shooting, where 4 officers were gunned down while having coffee. KOMO's Kristen Leone joins us now live in the studio with yet another reminder of this gut-wrenching time for local law enforcement. And sadly, Kristen, they've been here before.
Ryan and Kelly, yes, just to put this into perspective for you here, the coffee shop where this all took place, the 4 officers were shot and killed. It's about 5 miles away from the standoff, and we're told Lakewood police officers were also in Tacoma overnight, assisting in that crime scene. It's been a solemn week for the Lakewood police officers. In 2009, officers Mark Renninger, Tina Griswold, Ronald Owens, and Greg Richards were killed in that coffee shop. Now, we spoke to the former Lakewood police chief about the fallen Tacoma officer, and he knows exactly what these men and women in blue will be going through.
They'll start the grieving process and the sadness will set in, and it can be quite devastating to lose a friend like that in the line of duty.
Now, if you'd like to help the Lakewood Police Department, right now they're hosting their 7th annual Fallen Officers Food Drive. It starts in about an hour from now and ends at 6 tonight, and you do have until tomorrow to drop off your canned goods at either the Lakewood Police Department or Lakewood City Hall.
And along with that food drive, a candlelight vigil is being set up for 5 o'clock tonight. It will be held at the Sector 4 substation in Tacoma. We're told the officers worked out of that sector. The substation is at 400 East 56th Street in Tacoma. We'll stay on top of this investigation and bring you all the updates all morning long as we learn more about the officer, the suspect, and the events that led up to that tragic shooting.
And more news this morning. A heads up for anybody driving across Snoqualmie Pass this morning. Make sure you check those conditions before you head out for your trip. Right now, it is wet and slushy up there, but last night, compact snow and ice made for a very messy commute. Crews stayed very busy cleaning up after a major crash shut down the westbound lanes of I-90 for hours. Just take a look at this. There were 5 semis and several cars all involved in that mangled mess. We want everyone to stay safe.
Yeah, very scary up there for a while. Winter driving conditions there on that final night of November. Now we're welcoming in the month of December. A nice start, quiet start, at least down below at sea level. We have mainly dry conditions for this early commute. Temperatures starting on either side of 40, a little warmer downtown Seattle where it's 43. But look at Bellingham, just 36 degrees. Definitely feeling like winter really is just around the corner. A look at the satellite and radar picture showing we do have some lingering snow over the Cascades. I'll bring you the updated past reports in just a few more minutes. But for the most part, they're looking much more passable than they were last night, although there is some occasional snow there. Another disturbance on deck for later this afternoon into our Thursday night and Friday morning. That one's garden variety stuff, and it will bring near normal or even warmer than normal temperatures. What about the lowering snow level for the weekend? We'll talk about that and the chance for snow around the metro area as we head into the rest of the morning.
A victory lap. President-elect Donald Trump and Mike Pence are heading out on what they call a thank you tour today to honor the voters who helped him win the presidency. policy. First up is that visit to the Carrier plant in Indiana, where Trump will announce a deal showing he's fighting for the American worker. Trump and Carrier have negotiated a deal they say will preserve more than 1,000 jobs. But some of Trump's critics want more details before they celebrate the incoming president. And a historic day in Wisconsin, where election officials say everything is in place for the biggest recount in state history. They'll be retabulating nearly 3 million ballots. Everything will be paid for by the Jill Stein campaign. Hillary Clinton lost to Donald Trump by about 22,000 votes in Wisconsin. A recount in Michigan is also set for tomorrow, and Stein is suing for a recount in Pennsylvania.
We are learning more now about that mumps outbreak in King County. Health officials still trying to confirm more cases, but they say the children who do have the illness were all vaccinated. Right now, there are 9 confirmed cases in Auburn and 5 suspected cases. 5 schools are affected, including Auburn High, West Auburn High, Olympic Middle School, Pioneer Elementary, and Terminal Park Elementary. Health officials say vaccinated children can still get mumps because that vaccine is only 88% effective. Parents are asked to watch for some of these symptoms here. Take a look. Swollen cheeks and jaws, fever, headache, and muscle ache.
We're now starting to back things up southbound on 405 right into downtown Bellevue. So just be aware the commute's really getting going through Bothell and further parts south of that. Also southbound at I-5 through Linwood. You're hitting the brake lights there. Again, 42 miles an hour as you go southbound. Also 47 out of Everett. But it's the southbound that's been most troublesome this morning. We're actually starting to clear things out past the Tacoma Dome, but a lot of that surge of traffic is headed to the north, 30 miles an hour through Federal Way and all the way north to Tukwila. Out over on the Valley Freeway, you're down to 27 miles an hour coming out of Auburn and very slow too at 38 coming out of, say, Puyallup and Sumner. And here's a look here at I-5 at 317th Street. You can see all those cars trying to head in the northbound direction. Actually, that's southbound. There you go. There's that backup. I knew it was out there somewhere. But again, watch out. Let's be safe out there. No blocking accidents right now.
Well, it looks like the Seattle Sounders are heading to Toronto for the MLS Cup.
And if you want to go, you're going to have to act very fast. Seattle had the chance to host if Montreal could pull off the win, but Toronto clinched the Eastern Conference Championship last night. They get home field advantage for having a better season record than the Sounders.
Season ticket holders can enter a lottery to buy tickets. You can enter on the Sounders website, but the deadline is tonight at 5:30. The MLS Cup is Saturday on December 10th.
Right now it is 6:11. Up next, we are still tracking the latest on that deadly police shooting in Tacoma.
A live look at the crime scene. Still a very active scene. Once again, an officer shot in the line of duty. That standoff ending around 3:30 last night or this morning with that suspect being shot by police. We'll have much more when we come back.